But let's now take a look at a profile of Pope Francis. Who is this man? Let's find out.
Credo che ancora una volta abbiamo toccato con mano la bellezza di essere parte.
The smoke that catapulted Pope Francis to the pinnacle of leadership of the Catholic Church on March 13, 2013. Billows that announced a new era and the ascendancy of a pope unique in many ways. But the journey to the Vatican for Pope Francis was from a far different place than his predecessors. His parents, for instance, fled Italy in 1929, running away from persecution by the fascist state of Benito Mussolini. 7 years later, on the 17th of December 1936, Jorge Mario Bergoglio would be born to this working-class family. Whereas his family was Catholic, often going to this church in Buenos Aires, the young Bergoglio would not show interest in joining priesthood, studying to become a chemical technician, at one point even becoming a bar bouncer and a janitor. But on March the 12th, 1960, 52 years, 364 days to the day that he would become Pope, Bergoglio would be ordained as a Jesuit priest, having joined the Society of Jesus 2 years earlier. The rest, as they say, is history. Pope Francis spent most of his time in Argentina, often speaking out against the excesses of passing regimes, even at one time being considered a rival to the Kirchner government. At the center of his message, always, was equality for his people. Much has been made of Pope Francis' humility and oneness with his flock, but it is his unflinching commitment to speaking out about the issues of the day that have endeared him to millions around the world. From the migrant crisis, to the far more controversial gay rights issues, to extremism and the environment,
a delicate balance is required to combat violence perpetrated in the name of a religion, an ideology, or an economic system.
Pope Francis has made it his business to be the Church's voice in a world increasingly devoid of spiritual leadership, not unlike one of his more popular predecessors, Pope John Paul II. His visit to Africa, the first ever such trip for him in his lifetime, could mark an important phase in the Church's evangelism to Africa. His trip to the Central African Republic, for instance, is seen by many as an attempt to preach religious tolerance in a country torn apart by religious sectarian violence. It will be the man whose life has been an incredible story of transformation who reaches Kenya. From the child of a migrant to a chemical technician and bar bouncer to priest. From Jorge Bergoglio to Pope Francis, the first one from the Southern Hemisphere in 2,000 years. John Allen Amu, KTN News.